Hello, everyone, and welcome to the KCK Inspire Moments with Kaylin radio show. I am your host, Kaylin John Louis, and I am so excited to join you on the air today. I hope everyone is having a beautiful day. You've taken time to relax. Maybe you've taken time to do something fun, whatever you've done today. I hope that it has been a beautiful day. We are in the month of July, which I call my favorite month. It's my birthday month, so I pretty much think every day this month is great. But if you haven't had a good day, I do hope that you do something that ignites your spirit. To those listening, you know you are listening to a show that aims to inspire you and to help you discover the best version of yourself. How do I do that? By having these conversations sometimes where it's just me and the audience, and I'm able to really bridge the gap and really get into some of the topics that either God gave me something I felt was inspirational or just something that I felt could speak to others. And as I get into my show, before I ever get deep into the topic, I encourage everyone to download the Hallelujah 95.3 app so that you can listen to this show on the go on your electronic devices, whether you're in your car, at work, or just taking a moment for yourself. And be sure to tag somebody that you know and have them tune in right now, because today's show is truly one that I believe so many of us need to hear. Now, for those who know, you all know that I am currently at an internship right now in NY. I've taken a lot of time to do self-reflection. I only have about a month left, but even in my journey, it has taught me so much, from leaving to being here and even thinking about the future, going back and finishing out my last 2 semesters of college. There's so many things that I've learned in this experience. And so first, I have a question to ask everybody. Have you ever had a moment where the odds felt stacked against you, but something deep told you to go for it anyway? A moment where the vision was clear in your mind, but the path to get there seemed blurry, even impossible. I've had plenty of those moments, not even just in the last few weeks, but just within my life, I would say. And I feel like when I decided to even start this very platform of being on the radio, of really being able to take my voice seriously, it wasn't a part of anybody else's plan but mine. When I created my nonprofit organization at the age of 10, I didn't have all the answers. I just had a passion and a purpose. And even now, in the season that I'm in currently, choosing journalism as my career and stepping into something new, something intimidating, something that has opportunities, I've reminded myself of just how important it is to move forward, even when the outcome is uncertain. And it's not always easy. There's plenty of days that are filled with doubt, discomfort, and even discouragement. But on the other side of every step I've taken is growth, confidence, and confirmation that I'm exactly where I need to be. And that's why today's episode is all about. It's about the power, the beauty, and bravery it takes to bet on yourself. So today's topic, as I said, is bet on yourself. And it's very hard because when we talk about betting on yourself, we're talking about taking a leap, and that's something that a lot of people don't genuinely want to do off rip. Taking a leap requires grit. It requires strength. It requires you to push further to a place that you didn't necessarily think that you could be in. Even when the path ahead isn't fully clear, it's about believing your vision, your voice, your value, and even the world hasn't quite caught up to all the things that are going on. And sometimes you have to look within and say, that dream, that idea that I had, I got to take a leap and I got to bet on myself. And it all starts with your why. So that's the first part of betting on yourself, is finding your why. When you have a dream, you got to grab onto it and never let it go. I mean, I think back to even when I told my parents, I told my mom specifically that, I want to make a difference in this world. I want to be able to help others. And I think back to my mom, she was right on it. And my support corner, being able to say, let's go. If you tell me you want to do something, we're going to do it. But even with her in that push, it still required me to have the level of dedication to say, okay, if you have somebody who's pushing you, you have to be willing to bet on yourself as well, because somebody else's support and confidence can only take you so far. If you don't believe in the vision and the goal that you are working towards your own self, no amount of somebody else pushing you will bring you to the point where you need to be. And so I had to start with my why. Why did I want to make a difference? Because of the fact that it's always been around me in my family. I say that all the time. I grew up around it. I knew that it was something I wanted to do. And when I was, in elementary school, I would say, oh, well, I want to make an impact. And when I said an impact, I started Kaylin's Caring Connection. But if I think professionally, it's so funny because I used to say I wanted to be a pediatrician. Why? Because I loved kids. I love being able to be an impact in their lives. And I felt, if I am a pediatrician, I'll be able to help them medically if there's something going with them and, help them with that need. And then I realized very quickly that that is not for me, but it's okay because in that moment, I also realized that that my real passion besides wanting to just help children was to help people. And so in everything that I do, I feel like that is my life mission. That is me betting on myself in everything that I do. With Kaylin's Caring Connection, it's not a profit organization. It's nonprofit. And anybody in the nonprofit organization knows that it takes a lot of community support, but it also takes your own investment, your own blood, your sweat and tears. For me, because I was little, it was my mother's money and my mother's sweat and tears in there as well with me. But it took the time to get all of that in there. And it was extremely a notion of, okay, we're going to do this no matter how many people see it, no matter how many people gravitate towards it. We're going to bet on this organization. Even when I was going through middle school, I got to the point where I didn't see myself in the medical field. I did my research, and I'm just like, I don't really know if this is for me. I don't know that this is the, necessary lane that I want to go into. And so there's me starting this podcast around my 7th or 8th grade year in middle school. I'm doing this as a realm of therapy. And then I realize, and somebody brings it to my attention, oh yeah, journalism is something that you can, study in college. And, I'm in my, 9th or 10th grade year at this point. And I'm just like, I feel like I should have known what I was doing. You know how everybody asks you what you want to do when you grow up and you kind of take a pivot. And I had to bet on myself and say, I may not know the full realm of journalism, but I know radio. And I know that I like talking to people. I know that I like media. I know that I like seeing how things are graphically put together and seeing how things are documented and being able to cinematically see things. And it was a huge bet on myself. So many of us have dreams like the ones I've discussed with myself that tug at our hearts, visions we see for ourselves, even when no one else sees it. And the issue is we often wait for someone to validate those dreams, to give us the green light. But the truth is, the only green light you need is within you. I know so many times we're waiting on that acceptance. I think sometimes people didn't get that. Growing up, we see that that's sometimes a trigger for some people. If they didn't get validation from their family or their friends, they're looking for that for their every move. But when it comes to betting on yourself, you may very well have an idea that nobody believes in. The people that were supposed to be your day ones, who were supposed to stay there with you and do the things that you wanted to do or be able to be with you and hold you down like they said they were going to, may not be there when you have this wild idea and this wild, dream that you want to see come forth. And so you have to be the only green light that you need within you. The only thing in your way sometimes is yourself. That's the other aspect of it, because then you may say, well, Caitlin, I got people who supported me. Okay, you may be the obstacle within, because I know so many people who I've had people I've met on campus, people I've just met in life, and they're telling me their dreams and their aspirations, and they sound so great. They have the plan formulated, and then I ask them, so why haven't you started it yet? Oh, well, this is happening, or I'm going to wait for this, I'm going to wait for that. And if you keep waiting and you never bet on yourself and actually ignite that dream within you, ignite that idea within you, it's going to sit there. And either somebody else is going to, have the courage to jump on the thing that you didn't want to jump on, or it's just going to sit dormant. And then you're robbing the world of the greatness that is within you. You're robbing yourself from experiencing and being able to live in a version of yourself that you very may well have not been able to unlock if you didn't step forward and bet on that dream, bet on that thing within your head that allowed you to step forward. And so, like I said, talking about my journey, like I said, my podcast, I didn't have it all figured out. I started off literally on my mom's phone. I'm reading quotes. I'm talking to her Facebook friends that she has, her family, our family members, friends and family from church, the whole ordeal. And I'm just talking to them about the ideas and things that I have for my podcast. I'm talking to them about, the quotes I'm explaining. And then that turned into me interviewing people and having them come on, and we're talking about encouraging topics. And the more and more I kept pushing, there were definitely some days where I wondered, is this even something that other people will be able to reach to? Is this something that people are going to gravitate towards? Are people going to listen to my voice? Am I talking to only two people? All those questions came to my mind, but the more and more I kept going, Doc D bet on me, and he allowed me to see myself in a whole nother light that I never thought I would see myself in, which was radio. He gave me the opportunity my senior year of high school. And from that experience, my senior year of high school, I was able to continue and go forward. And even moving forward in that journey, I was able to unlock another version of myself that I never thought that I would be in. I found a new love, a new thing. And I'm not going to lie, y'all, being in radio is probably the greatest decision that I've ever made. I mean, I'm able to connect with people and I feel alive. And if I didn't tell myself, we're going to do this, if I didn't push myself in high school, didn't push myself like I am now in college, I wouldn't be on 3 radio stations. I wouldn't be in the place that I'm in now. And I still continue to bet on myself. People tell me all the time, radio's dying out. Why do you keep doing it? Because I know that there are people who still listen and there's still an audience to reach. But even when I think about journalism, I mean, everybody knows, at least if you've been my age, you know exactly where I'm at. For those who are my age, I'm about to be 20 years old in a few days. And I'm at the point of my life where I'm in the space. This internship has opened my eyes in so many ways. I'm learning what I don't like, what I do like. I'm learning what I do want to go in, what I don't want to go in. And even in those places where I'm learning these different things, I'm also in the space where I am betting on myself. Coming to New York within itself, when I heard about it and even thinking about it, applying for this internship, I had that inner monologue people talk about within the head that I didn't think I would be here. I didn't think I would be in this opportunity, in this space, but I bet on myself. And I just said, it's application. What's the least I could do? I can either get an acceptance or they can tell me no and I apply again later, or, I just take it as something that God didn't have in my plan for me. I bet on myself. I did the interview, and look where I'm at. I'm here now. And I'm just very grateful, for the opportunity to even look at myself and say, I'm going to bet on myself, to have my support system who says, Kaylin, this is a far move for you and it's a lot for us. But if you believe in yourself and this is what you want to do for your career, they're supporting me behind it. And so there's going to be decisions in life that you have to make, that you have to do for your own personal self. And as much as people may see on my social media or just hear me talking about it, y'all, it's been hard. It's been a great experience, but it's been difficult. I've been going through the growing pains that I talked about last week. I've been going through the process of watching myself change, of I'm in the space. I feel like every person who was in their senior year about to really go in the real world, where I'm questioning what's next. I mean, growing up, they don't tell you what happens after you're in grade school. You go through K through 12. And once you're in K through 12, my brain never created an idea or a movie of what would happen afterwards. There were several things and several outcomes, but actually living it is different. And so being in the space now where I'm here, I'm thinking about the fact that, okay, so there's no more school after this. I'm actually going into my career. I'm in the space now where I feel like I'm in the real world. I'm working in a corporate setting. And there's so many things that I was not privy to that I'm learning now, that I feel like I'm weaker in some areas, I'm stronger in other areas. And it's all a part of betting on yourself. You're going to learn things. The whole purpose of taking risks, of believing in yourself, stepping into the things that you never thought you could do, is to learn and see how far you go. You never know what your limit is until you push forward and you go forward in a better place. And so you have to be able to believe in yourself. Investing in yourself is the best bet you will ever make. And it will not only improve your life, but it will improve the lives of those around you. I can guarantee that most of the things that I've done in my life, betting on myself, have either benefited my friends, they've brought joy to other people. It's allowed me to have a resource to be able to be a blessing. And so There are going to be times where you do have to bet on yourself. You do have to go through those phases or those different challenges to be able to get there. But then there's that fear and that struggle that comes along with it, even when you are in the place of betting on yourself. That's the reality of it. And it's going to be times where you don't understand stuff. But you have to realize that it's time to bet on yourself. Wake up and remember who you are. I think that's the biggest thing that holds people back, because you can go through your whole life where people are telling you who you are. If you're a believer and you're saying, "Oh, I know that I'm a child of God. I know that I'm his." And then you get in spaces where things are intimidating. Things are challenging, and then you have mental moments where you feel like you don't belong. The thoughts of, "Oh, I don't belong here. I shouldn't be here." You're fearful of what can happen next, or you're not as open to making change and being up there. You develop low self-esteem. You can't allow fear, shyness, and low self-esteem to win in situations that are unfamiliar. Uncomfortability is the best teacher in the world, and I've learned that my entire life. Some of the most uncomfortable times in my life so far, because I still have time to go, have been the biggest bolsters of where I'm at now. They've been the greatest catalyst to my growth. And you have to allow the things that you have going on, the things that are negative, the things that hurt, the things that don't feel so comfortable, to push you forward. Fear will try to convince you that you're not ready, that you're not good enough. But in reality, every time you doubt yourself, you're choosing to believe in your limits more than your potential. When you choose to allow your mind, to allow the enemy, to allow whatever inner monologue is telling you every single day, "Oh, well, no, don't start that business because somebody else is already doing it." Or, "No, don't get your degree because you feel like you're not going to be as successful as other people." Or you feel like you're not on the required road that you were supposed to take. Let me tell those who, especially when it comes to education, because I know there's some people who feel like they're not traditional students, this, that, and the third. I know that I've done things traditional with my education, but I've also done them untraditionally. Even getting my AA is something that I'm learning, because there's so many people who have more time to discover what they want to do in college. Me going unconditional or untraditionally and being in the space where I'm younger, amongst a lot of my peers. I'm in the place where I'm doing things. It has its positives and negatives. There's some things that are good about it. There's some things that are hard. And there's that fear and that mindset. I've had to talk myself out of that this week, last week, even being at this internship, that, "Oh, I'm because I got my AA, or because I'm younger, maybe I'm not, in the place where I know everything, or maybe I'm behind. I didn't get the time to develop." And you have to get those thoughts out of your mind, because fear will always convince you that you're not ready. But if you weren't ready, you wouldn't be in the position that you're in. And that's the thing that you have to consistently tell yourself. Then I speak to the people who are like me, who care a lot. Sometimes we can care for people so much and ride for people so much that we believe more in others than we believe in our own self. And that's what leaves people struggling. You end up betting on the wrong side of truth all along, because you're pushing other people to their dreams and you're telling people you can do this and you're investing into other people, but then you're not investing in yourself and betting on the same things that you want. The same way you can encourage your friend, your family member, this, that, and the third, to go forward, to believe in their dream, to go forward and to keep pushing to what they want to be, you have to also invest that into yourself. Because if you don't invest that into yourself, you're selling yourself short. You have to bet on you, because you're the only one that can. And that line hits because sometimes we don't realize that playing it safe is what's actually holding us back. I've talked to several adults, when you go to different sessions, when you're networking with people, even being, in church settings, or even you're talking to adults, a lot of the people who are older than you give you wisdom to keep going forward. I've heard from a lot of people that there's some things that they wish they did when they were younger, that they're just now starting, and how harder it is, how much they held themselves back, how much they played it safe just so that they could survive. But there's a difference between surviving and living. You got to be able to take that step. You can't just exist in this world. You got to find a reason to live. You have to find a reason to bet on your dreams. You have to really Push yourself, not just because you only get one life, but also because life is too short not to sit in a place of complacency. I talked about way back when, and I will bring it up every now and again, about potential and kinetic energy. There's so many people who got all this potential stored within them, but they don't do anything with it. And if they don't do anything with it, it dies with them. But they could have done so much. They could have reached the potential. All the reason they didn't do it was all because of the fear that it wouldn't work out, or the fear that people wouldn't accept them, the fear that the thing wouldn't blow up. And that's the thing with a lot of people right now. I wish people, I like social media and I'm a media person, but I promise there are some days where I just wish that media wasn't a thing we focused on so much, because people measure their success in analytics. If you don't get a certain amount of followers, certain amount of likes, people just feel like no amount of them betting on themselves, no amount of them putting in the hard work matters unless they got a number that goes behind it. And that's not true. Still bet on yourself. No matter if one person looks at the stuff you do, 5 people do, 10 people, 50 people, 100 people. It doesn't matter who looks at it and likes it, as long as you like it. As long as you're making your family proud, you're making your circle proud. That's all that matters. That's the only thing that you can control. Then when we get into another part of betting yourself, it's the realness of it, that success isn't guaranteed, but growth is. If you never know failure in life, you will never know success. And even when we have failure moments or we feel like we failed, that's still a place of growth. It doesn't have to be failure. You can change your mindset and turn that into a win later, but you're not always going to get everything right on the first try. Not every show that I've done in the past has been a good show. Some shows I felt like I did horrible. Not every event that or campaign that I've done for KCK, for the organization, has always done as well as I thought it could do. Not everything I've done in school has done as well as I thought it could. And even being in this internship, there are several things that I thought that I knew that I didn't. Several things that I've pitched that haven't gone through. And that doesn't mean that I'm not successful. It just means that I'm growing through it and that I'm learning just like every other person. And you have to remind yourself that, because betting on yourself isn't about a perfect win every time. It's just about stepping in the ring, getting into action. The fact that you even made the notion to go outside of yourself, to go outside of your comfort zone, to push further to a place that you thought you couldn't be, is already a win within itself. Because even if you don't, gain something super huge, if you don't gain something that's super tangible, you can walk away knowing that you gained a greater understanding. And sometimes that's worth it way more than anything that is tangible. There's some situations where I've lost people in life where, I've done some things, I've bet on myself and it didn't work out the way that I thought it would. And I have a moment where I'm just like, well, I really thought that was going to work, or I really thought, that was my thing. And then I see later why it wasn't. And then I realize, the fact that I was even there, though, still matters. It still is important. And so always bet on yourself, no matter what the odds are. It means more to be in a race than to watch the victory laps from the stands. Because if you think about an actual race, right? Every single person who does a race has the intent to win, has the intent to run first place. But for some people, the race is not just about a trophy for them. Sometimes people are running a race to prove a point to themselves. Some people are running a race for physical health. Some people are doing it for many different reasons. And if you're not in that race for your own reason, if you don't have something to push you, to get you to your finish line, it don't have to be first place. It just has to be your finish line and your future. If you just sit and watch everybody who's running for their dreams, they're jumping for the goals that they have, they're jumping for the ideas, you're going to watch them reach their victory and still be in the same place of feeling fearful. It's not good. And I know there's several people who will agree with me. When you see, people who are consistently going up and you're just like, oh, I want to be there too, but you're not doing anything to be there, you never will be able to fulfill what it is that you're searching for. You have to get in the lab. And it's not going to be easy. It's going to hurt. Sometimes you got to stretch yourself in ways you're going to go through frustrated nights, times where you don't understand things. But you have to be able to know that failure is also a part of the package of success. The people who win in life, the people who you see with the fancy cars and who are living their best lives, They had to go through the struggle too. They had to go through their own version of failure. But so is growth, so is confidence, so is clarity. They're all things that are all in the journey of success. The worst thing, and I saw this and I thought it was really cool. It said the worst thing that can happen to a gambler is to let their recent losses or wins knock them off balance. Because, when you think gambling is not good, but, if you think those who are playing poker, if they focus on every loss that they did and they continue to let that affect them as they continue playing games, what's going to happen? They're not going to keep going. It's going to shake them. Or even if you win, sometimes people get so stuck on that one win that they did. And it's just like, oh, I'm the greatest. I don't have to do anything else anymore. But that one win doesn't mean you stop there. There's greater mountains to reach. Once you get that one victory that you got, you can bask in it. You can enjoy it. Celebrate your wins, but don't allow that one win to make you feel like you're the greatest thing that happened. Because there's something higher, something always greater to reach for, even as you're going through certain things. And you're going to have ups and downs, but the key is to stay steady. The strength you gain in the process is what makes the journey worth it. And I really do believe that even though it hurts, you go through things that are not always cool. I'm learning so much in my own process of life right now that's making the journey of going through K through 12 every day, where sometimes we wake up and it's just, why am I going to school again? Why am I in this place? Why do I have to go this place, do that? It all makes it worth it when everything ties together. I say all that to say, to just bet on yourself, believe in yourself. It's going to work out. For those who are like me right now, you're betting on yourself and it's feeling hard. You got to keep going. Because every day is not going to be easy. Every day is not going to be sunshine and rainbows, but everything that you're going through is for a reason. And it's going to amount to something at some point. You just have to trust the process. You definitely have to trust the process. And for my people who have support, last point I'll make before I wrap everything up is that you have to have belief over applause. It's great to have support and people in your corner, but it's better to believe in yourself, especially if those people are no longer in your corner. It's great to have people in your corner, but it's also better to fight even when life has you cornered, because you will have people who are there for you, but there's some things you're going to go through even in betting on yourself that nobody else can help you with but yourself. You're going to have to go through your own struggles, your own talks with yourself. You're going to have to be your own greatest supporter. And support is beautiful, but your self-belief is your real foundation. And when things get hard and you're standing alone, that belief is what's going to have to carry you. So yeah, it's good when you have people who can cheer for you and you have people on the sidelines. By all means, get your circle of people who are going to be there to support you. But at the end of the day, everybody's not going to be able to be there. And every single win that you have, you got to be able to bet on yourself and celebrate yourself, believe in yourself, and be in those moments. So as I close, I need y'all to tell yourselves this statement. I'd rather fail and lose betting on myself and chasing my own dreams than be a success living someone else's plan for me. I'll say that again. I'd rather fail and lose betting on myself and chasing my own dreams than be successful living someone else's plan for me. You can't allow yourself to live that somebody else's plan for yourself. Bet on yourself, follow your dreams, take the unconventional route, and show people why you were created. Everybody has a purpose, and the things that seem unconventional are divine timing that God brings us in sometimes. So bet on yourself. No, it's not about protection. It's about freedom. It's about choosing your vision, your purpose, and your future. There's something special that happens when you burn all your ships and go all in on your dreams. It lights a fire deep in your soul and shows you believe in you. And that belief is priceless. So today, let this be your reminder. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Bet on yourself. You are the greatest investment you'll ever make. I hope that inspires you. I really, really wanted to be able to encourage you and just bring you a little bit further into your journey of whether you may be going. I don't know who needed to hear it, but I hope that it inspires you. As I wrap up, I do have one announcement though. There's a chance to support FAMU athletics while enjoying a great day on the green. The FAMU Rattlers Boosters are hosting the 2025 Cozy, Ellenwood, Gilman, and Ward Golf Tournament at the Jake Gaither Golf Course in Tallahassee. It's all happening to raise $100,000 to support student athletes and the university sports programs. The tournament includes 9 holes of golf, a cart, morning snacks, lunch, prizes, and a networking luncheon to follow. Registration is $100 per person or $400 per team, and sponsorship opportunities are available starting at just $50. The deadline to register is July 19th, and space is limited. So for more details or to sign up, contact the FAMU Rattler Boosters today. And before I leave, you can connect with me on my social media platforms, which all can be found on my website, which is www.Kaylin's Caring Connection. You'll find the YouTube Inspiring Moments with Kaylin. You'll find the Instagram at Kaylin Cares 15 and the LinkedIn and Facebook at Kaylin's Caring Connection. And as I wrap up the show, I want you to remember one thing: you are loved, you are enough, and you matter. Don't let anyone tell you any different. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next Inspiring Moments with Kaylin radio show. Until next time, be blessed.